1945, among the Jews who were left alive, there came a visionary man who turned his wrath into a plan. Abakovner was his name. As a partisan, he earned his fame. He once was a Vilna rebel Jew, a poet warrior through and through. He met some surviving ghetto fighters. Zionists and socialists conspired. They gathered in a Lublin flat and around the kitchen table sat. They gave themselves a Hebrew name, and with this word they did proclaim that vengeance is what God would will were there a God. And so they'd kill
6 million Germans.
You might say it was insane.
6 million Germans.
That it was misdirected pain.
6 million Germans.
They didn't want the war to end.
6 million Germans.
They wanted one thing, Nakam, revenge. For every Jew the Nazis gassed, for every racist law they passed, for every wrong that wasn't right, for all the dead Nakam would fight. They formed a band of 40 strong to straighten out what had been wronged. They chose to poison water mains, just as the Jews of old were blamed. Nuremberg and Hamburg town, their agents worked the underground. They took up jobs by the riverside and waited for the poison to arrive. Kovner went to Tel Aviv to see what help he could receive. But the Haganah did not agree to join in his conspiracy.
6 million Germans.
You might say it wasn't right.
6 million Germans.
That an eye for an eye leaves all without sight.
6 million Germans.
They didn't want to make amends.
6 million Germans.
They wanted one thing, Nakam, revenge. Abakovner headed back with vials of poison in his sack upon a British naval ship. But to his plans the Brits were tipped. They took him into custody, and the poison fell into the sea. And Kovner spent a year in jail, and so Plan A did not prevail. The group was all dispersed and all their backup plans were cursed. By an agent in a bakery, he got some poison from Paris, and as soon as the poisoned bread had risen, took it to an Allied prison. And various reports have said there were hundreds of SS prisoners dead.
6 million Germans.
You might say that it was wrong.
6 million Germans.
But were their actions weak or strong?
6 million Germans.
And who are we to judge and condemn?
6 million Germans.
Well, they wanted one thing, Nakam, revenge. And so Nakam was all disbanded. On Palestina's shores they landed. And Abakovner and his crew became like many other Jews. They put aside their rage and hate, and they worked to build a Jewish state with Jewish towns and Jewish farms and Jewish guns and nuclear arms. Now, can vengeance put upon the shelf be taken out later on someone else? Well, careful how you read this tale, lest your own prejudice prevail. For look around the world today and consider the role that vengeance plays. For history has its unpaid debts, and is it better if we forget?
6 million Germans.
You might say it was absurd.
6 million Germans.
But what becomes of a dream deferred?
6 million Germans.
And how could they just start again?
6 million Germans.
They one thing.
Nakam, revenge!